What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. I was thinking the other day, we haven't seen Andy Ruiz since the first Saudi card that they put together. He was there in attendance. We know that he's been trying to get a fight with Deontay Wilder. Wilder has showed no interest in fighting Andy Ruiz. Now, for Andy, I know that he said he had a shoulder surgery. Now, I don't know if he's still recovering from this. I don't know. I don't see any training videos. I don't know what's going on with Andy. But he's letting a lot of very valuable years go by in his life. And it's like all of these fighters are trying to get top dollar. And it's hurting their careers in terms of them being able to even get out there, get their faces out there, get more people to know who they are, and grow a bigger fan base. And it's really it's like at some point you have to really wake up and understand, like, okay, I'm not going to be young forever, and at some point my prime years are going to be gone, and I'm not going to be able to do this on the same level. And he didn't get the Wilder fight. I don't know what else is going on, with him, who else he's reached, if he's trying to fight anybody else. But look, he has a history with Joseph Parker. Parker doesn't have an opponent yet, if he's going to be on this Saudi card. He has a history with Anthony Joshua, but Anthony Joshua is in a different bracket right now. So, that's not a fight that's just going to happen just because you guys had two fights. But there is other guys out there, and I know, I'm telling you guys, the Frank Sanchez's, the F.A. Jogbas, the Jared Andersons, they don't want to fight these guys because they're not going to get the money that they want with these guys. The networks have to want these fights, for one. And I don't know if the Saudis see something in Andy Ruiz that they're not sure about. They want to, they might want to put him on the card, but they want to know that he's going to show up, he's going to be ready. I told you guys too, Andy Ruiz was damaging himself with this whole nonsense. I remember after he fought Anthony Joshua the first time, and he's sitting there, remember all the silly pictures, sitting there with like a big tray full of hamburgers and all this, like sitting there eating the Snickers and playing, just sitting there with his fat belly and just like silly stuff. And then all of a sudden you start seeing him with the photo shoots, and he bought his mom a house, and then everything about him, he went from being this humble guy to being really arrogant and like trash talking and just putting himself up on the pedestal. And then he goes in the rematch and he basically gets outclassed, outboxing, got smacked around. And basically AJ took his belts back. And since then, Andy Ruiz has not really did anything significant. He's had some fights, but like he's done nothing really significant. He barely fights, and this is not going to help you to get better. It's going to be harder for him because he's a fat guy. So he's going to find himself always having to try to cut weight and in a position of not getting sharper. Every time a guy's not in the ring for a long time, they come back and say, oh, I'm in the best shape of my life, I feel better than I've ever felt. But they always go to the ring rust excuse when they go in there and they have a fight and they struggle. It's like it's not helping him to be out of the ring unless he's recovering. I don't know. And I can't see why people wouldn't want to put him on the card unless they just don't believe in him. Now, him and Wilder could have had a fight, but Wilder said he was asking for too much money. So Wilder right now, we don't know what's going on with him, because we heard that they would try to put Wilder versus, Zhilei Zhang together. And that's not even a done deal. So Andy Ruiz's name hasn't came up in that situation, but it's like, if anybody could get the deal done between Wilder and Ruiz, it would be the Saudis. Okay, and Wilder and his team is not coming up with the money, so there's no excuse about you're asking for too much money. No. But it's like, yeah, I was just thinking, like, what's going on with Andy Ruiz? Like, really, what's really going on with this guy, man? I mean, you came in as a replacement for Jarrell Miller. You upset Anthony Joshua, and people acknowledge, like, okay, this dude hands, because people who didn't know, and I listen, I knew who Andy Ruiz was, and the guy always had really fast hands, and he's quick when you try to get on the inside. If he can beat you to the punch and he starts letting his hands go, he can do some damage. And despite people saying, oh, he don't hit hard because what's the old guy, his old promoter saying that he doesn't, Bob Arum, oh, he can't punch, and nah, he can crack. He can crack. The thing with Andy Ruiz is, we know flat-footed, no footwork, and he depends on you to get close to him, and he'll get inside, and he doesn't know how to cut off a ring. But once he gets inside and lets his hands go, he can get to you, and he does have really fast hands. But, you've seen no improvement in him. You've seen him add nothing to his game. Like I said, learning how to cut the ring off, being more aggressive to get in, better head movement, no. So, I don't really know what's going to happen with Andy Ruiz. But these years that are going by, and, and he's not being active and sharpening his skills up, it's only going to hurt him. And you see these guys and you see the talent, and it's just like, I don't know, man, people just don't want to fight anymore. It's like everybody want that lottery fight, and even when they don't have the resume, or they just don't have the star power, and they just want this lottery fight. Him versus Wilder wouldn't have been a lottery fight under PBC terms. Not for him, anyway. But at the same time, there's other fights out there, man. You got to stay active. You got to stay busy. So I don't really know what's going on with Andy Ruiz, but Andy Ruiz needs to get in there. He needs to fight. He needs to stay consistent. Honestly, I just think Andy Ruiz is lazy. I really do. Like I said, I don't know if he's, because it's been a while now. So, if he's still recovering or if he's just training, I don't know what he's doing. But I just think he's lazy, man. I don't think that he's as hungry as he used to be. I think he really wanted the Wilder fight. And because he didn't get it, I think it's just like, he's not motivated himself to get in there and just let's fight. Let's stay active and let's keep it going. I mean, hey, man, Dillian White said he's his own promoter now. Hey, try to get something going with Dillian White. But again, I think it's just they want this. He's in that category of a fighter wanting to make a huge payday. And Andy doesn't have the stats for that. It depends on who he's fighting. He's not a household name on his own. He needs that dance partner. So, I mean, you guys are fighters. This is what you signed up for, man. Get in there and fight, man. Earn your money. But I just think he's lazy. I don't think his dedication is the same. I think it depends on who he's fighting. That would make him, decide that, okay, now let me step it up. I'm getting the Wilder fight. Oh, I'm getting the AJ rematch. Or Usyk or Fury, something like that. I just think, like, his motivation isn't there. And that's not a good thing for any fighter. But, again, he's letting valuable time go by without doing anything. And this is why when you look at a fighter's career at the end of their career and all those years that go by, and you think that other fighters coming after them will learn from their mistakes, and you know what, yeah, I remember this guy was doing this and that, and he looked like he was on to something, and then he just faded away. Because that's exactly what's happening to Andy Ruiz. He's fading out, man. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with now. If Wilder and Zhang fight, more than likely this is going to be on the Saudi card. But if it's not Zhang, definitely the Saudis don't want to just put Wilder in. They don't want to put any two fighters in there just to put them in there. They want to try to make the best possible matchups. Now, the thing with Andy Ruiz is he hasn't been in the ring for a long time. Is he ready to go in there and step up? And skill wise, the thing is with Wilder, you know what you're coming. You already know what you're up against. So skill wise, it's not like it's something he has to be worried about from a really crafty fighter that knows his way around the ring. It's a guy that's going to throw the jab in the right hand. And basically, I don't know. I just haven't heard Andy Ruiz talking about much of anything, and since the Wilder fight didn't go through. I remember him saying he wanted Joseph Parker to win because Wilder talks a lot of shit, and he feels like he'll be easy to get a fight with Joseph Parker. So we don't. And again, Joseph Parker doesn't have a fight yet. So I don't know. Maybe they'll hook up Andy Ruiz versus Joseph Parker rematch. Who knows? And I think that'll be cool. And the thing with Andy is, a lot of people thought he won that fight against Parker. It was one of those things. A lot of people was vouching that. Now they think Andy won. So now he has something to prove, and this should be a fight to motivate him. Now I don't know that that's gonna happen, but I mean, yeah, why not, man? Why not? And if you're not gonna put Joseph Parker in there against an FA, a Jogba, or a Frank Sanchez, if you're not gonna put him in there with guys like that, then who are you gonna put him in there with? So yeah, I mean, who else? Who are you gonna put him in there with? We just saw Joe Joyce fight, and I don't know if the Saudis look at Joe Joyce as someone that they want to put on their card. Joe Joyce definitely is no longer the juggernaut, man. I think he's just basically at the end of his road right now. So I don't know. Now, they could put him on there with someone that they want to build up that might go in there and knock Joe Joyce out, or go in there and like pounce on him and just outclass him and beat. Who knows? Now, I'm not saying Andy Ruiz is that guy, but a rematch between Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker. Parker's looking forward to that. Parker's not looking to duck anybody. Parker's not trying to take no easy fights. Parker just want to fight. And I guess he understands that if he keeps busy and he keeps winning, it's all paying off for him. So not only is it keeping him sharp, but it's the type of thing where, okay, you're earning more respect. You're building a resume where, at some point, man, that, hey, maybe you'll be headlining. Who knows? Now, if AJ's on the card, AJ keeps winning, well, forget that I said that. But I mean, if just bottom line, you never know, things happen. But yeah, just looking at where Andy Ruiz is right now, he has a lot more work to do, man. When these guys talk about all-time greats and all this kind of stuff, it's like, man, you gotta stay active and you gotta fight. You can't expect everything is gonna be $20 million, dollars. No, you gotta fight. You gotta keep active. And when you find yourself with a solid winning streak and people are going, but damn, look at that, like what Joseph Parker is doing. Look at what this guy's doing. Look at where he's at right now. And, hey, and what the Saudis doing, what they're doing, eventually, yeah, you'll get that fight. Or you'll be on there with someone that's respectable, and you guys are going to make big money. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking about it because it's like, damn, he's just been missing in action for the longest time, man. And, it kind of makes you think, like, okay, what's the situation? What is the status between Wilder and Zhang? Because that might not be the fight that happened. I said I won't be surprised if he ends up trying to fight, which I don't think it will be on the Saudi card. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get Wilder versus Luis Ortiz 3. And I did bring up Charles Martin in the past, and people brought that up on a recent video that it might be Charles Martin. Like, yeah, but fighting a Charles Martin or Ruiz, or Ortiz doesn't put him in the position that he needs to be in. So to say he needs a big win, that's not a big win. Fighting Ortiz, that's not a big win. Fighting, and not to mention, Ruiz beat him too. So that's not a big win. Fighting Charles Martin at this stage, it's not a big win. He just lost to Jared Anderson. So for Wilder to take on those type of opposition, well, that's the type of people he's been fighting. Basically, Ortiz was his first really step up fight in terms of he was the best fighter that he had fought up into Fury and then Parker. So when you look at it, it's like for Wilder, Ruiz hasn't been in the ring for a long time. And the fact that, 7-8 Sports brought that up to Wilder and told him he didn't like the fact that, Parker was active and Wilder wasn't. Well, now, here, since you want to use that as an advantage, well, now you have an advantage because you just recently fought, and Ruiz hasn't fought in like 2 years, man. His last fight was against Chris Arreola. So, just saying. And if you would have gave him the fight, you guys would have fought already because he wanted the fight. So, I don't know, does Ruiz want to come back with a tune-up fight? Does he want to jump back straight in there with another top guy? And once again, if he's waiting for that one big fight, we see David Benavidez was constantly talking about, Canelo, different people, Canelo. It's like, man, you got to move on with your career. You can't just sit still and wait for a guy. And the possibility that a person can lose and then the fight doesn't happen. Look at what happened with AJ in Wilder's situation, right? We saw it happen to Dillian White with Povetkin, but Povetkin, him and White rematched and White got the job done the second time. But yeah, things can happen and your plans get derailed. But in the meantime, why are you not in the ring fighting? If you're no longer injured, if you're healthy, what's the holdup, man? These guys are damaging their careers, man, So, I don't know. Talk to me. Tell me what y'all think about Andy Ruiz and what's going on with this guy. Have y'all heard anything? Because I haven't. I haven't heard anything. I just heard a couple of people speculate, what if, but it's like, yeah, let me see what's going on with Andy. Man, I don't hear anything about him right now. So, tell me what y'all think about Andy Ruiz, man, and where he stands right now in boxing. Never fall in love, lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.